Very much, Ms McMillan. Jamie Greene, to be followed by Willie Coffey. Mr Greene, please.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. First of all, I'd like to thank Jenny Goroof for putting some doubts in my head. And those doubts are whether D equals S over T or T equals D over S. I always got that triangle wrong at school, but I'm going to go away and research it after this. This debate is quite important today, and I think there have been some interesting contributions actually from across the chamber. Scotland is really a nation that encompasses a strong global reputation for its excellence in STEM subjects. And I think it's through the talent and entrepreneurial spirit of Scottish people that we've built the great nation that we are today. The importance of STEM subjects is that these subjects cover such a far-reaching spectrum of industries and job opportunities, which I think are so crucial to the future success of the Scottish economy. Now, as our economy modernises, I think it's our duty to ensure that the Scots of tomorrow are given the opportunity to play their part in that economy. I'd like to take one example. It's close to my heart. It's the digital economy. In that sector, there is huge growth, but with that growth comes a huge demand for programmers, engineers and software developers to keep up with that demand. Now, we know that every year there are 11,000 digital vacancies in Scotland, but we're only ever able to fill around half of those. So if we're struggling to meet the industry's demands of today, it's going to be even more challenging, surely, to keep up with the demands of tomorrow. Therefore, the need to train people to keep up with tomorrow's demands is never more paramount. But this is a problem not just in the digital industry. I think we're seeing a worrying trend that exposes how underprepared our workforce is to adapt to changes in the market in the future. An example being, in a recent survey by Pearson and the CBI, it underlined that Scotland is simply not producing enough STEM graduates to keep up with the demands of the modern Scottish market. A separate survey by the CBI found that 42% of STEM recruits are falling short in their employers' expectations of skills. Now, I think Stuart McMillan made some valid points, actually. One of the points being that it is our duty to be ambassadors for this subject matter. I was interested to hear experiences from members on what inspired them in sciences. I think we all have a personal story that we have of something that we saw on television or something we did at school or someone who nurtured us in our interest in the sciences or technology. And I think that's a really important point in that we can talk about statistics and rises and falls and trends, but actually it's about inspiring young people to get involved in sciences. And I think whilst the consultation mentions some great projects, I think there is still much more we could do as MSPs. Analysis in the US, for example, shows that 40% of American STEM graduates do not actually work in a direct field that's related to what they studied. So, in other words, graduating from a STEM field, I think, offers graduates much greater flexibility in their career choices. Now, this debate is important in Scotland because we know that physics-based sectors account for over £12.5 billion of the Scottish economic output. We estimate more than 180,000 people are directly employed in these sectors. And many sectors that the Scottish economy is so reliant on for its future success, such as oil and gas, agriculture, energy and renewables, is so reliant on STEM graduates. It was only last week I stood in this very spot and talked about digital participation. But with only 17% of Scottish schools lack a specialist IT teacher. So how can we expect our young to succeed in the digital world of tomorrow if we aren't providing them enough teachers today? It's even more worrying, as other members have alluded to, that there is a disparity in female students in these subjects. Less than a third of physics higher students are women, and Skills Development Scotland themselves point out that only 13% of STEM jobs are occupied by females. Now, in my own region, it's great to see that Ayrshire College has recognised this problem and in response has put together some very specific programmes to address this. This Ayrshire Girl Can tag is, I hope, very successful, but I'd like that to be this Scottish Girl Can. I'd like to see that extended. In closing, Deputy Presiding Officer, my colleague Liz Smith rightfully pointed out, as did Tavish Scott, that this debate has happened before. There's a bit of groundhog in this chamber today. I think the government's agenda has been complacent to date, and I hope the Scottish Government listens intently to what's been said across this chamber from all parties and puts more immediate focus on STEM. Thank you.